Let's start.
Is there anybody there? Do you want to ask some questions?
You need to type it.
We'll do that too.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the assignment. We're hoping everybody's doing okay. He's online. Okay, what we're going to do is go through the sections and talk about what people have been asking and what are the common mistakes that people make. Isn't that right, Phil? Say hello.
Hello.
Got the assignment up. So one of the key things is how much should I write on each section?
No, it isn't.
No, it's not?
No, it isn't.
Okay, you say, go shut the door. Talk.
The key thing is to write what's necessary for each section.
One of the key questions everybody keeps asking
I know.
the answer is, write what's necessary.
Write what's necessary.
But the question is, how much should I write? The assignment. So the marking criteria should help you to think about the different bits that you need to write. So if we start with the description of the proposition, we can't see the questions, that's the problem if anybody asks. Can we? Okay. So I need you to talk to me, otherwise it's a very boring monologue. That's the idea of having more than one person. Okay. So the first bit, which just tells us what your proposition does, is quite small because hopefully you've developed your ideas, and you keep moving that and I can't see what's going on. And you're leaving me here to talk, Phil. You're leaving me hanging.
I'm a man, I can't multitask.
Okay. So what we want you to do with the first bit is just tell us what it does and how you think it's going to work. I can't make that's too small.
I know, I'm trying to get big in it.
I need you to talk, Phil. So after the tutorial yesterday, what would you say the key things people want to know about how to do this assignment?
Key issue is structure.
Okay. So it's a report. You've got 6 sides, so you need to choose your words carefully. Waffle won't cut it, basically.
Correct. Yeah, you've only got 6 sides. But appendices can be used for, say if you've got a Mintel report, you don't bung that in the 6 pages. The key bits of the Mintel report will go into the appendices, and then you extract from that and mention the key points in the main body of the report.
Okay. Ooh. Privacy environment. What the hell's that? Anyway, so the key bit is the bit about describing your proposition is quite small. Can we see if anybody's asking any questions? And the main body is to keep looking at the marking criteria, which tells you exactly what it is that we're looking at. Go to up.
Do you need up or down?
No. To the marking criteria, that's it.
Oh, that's down.
Sorry.
That's at the bottom of the document.
But you're moving the screen up. See,
Yeah.
this is the thing, you have to communicate clearly.
Moving the screen up or down is an HCI problem. When you're looking at a window and you're scrolling, are you moving the window over the document, or are you moving the document down or up under the window?
So, the business model. You may have many different elements to your business model. You might have, oh, here we go, this question. When doing the first section, the business proposal, what do you mean by value proposition? That's your product. That's your value proposition. Your proposition that has value is your product, whether it's a service, an item, a membership, whatever it is. That's what you're offering somebody.
So the value is to the customer. Why would the customer pay for the thing that you're offering? What do they get from it? So if you're offering a dog walking service, it frees off the customer to arrange their day differently because somebody else is going to come round and walk their dog. So it's not just the value isn't just in the dog walking, but it's in the way that people can manage their time.
Yeah. The term value proposition is an all-encompassing term, which means any product or service that you are offering that has value. Okay?
So what do we mean by, in terms of the assignment, you need to make it clear
what it is you're offering.
What it is you're offering, why the customer would want it,
how you're offering it,
and how you're going to make money from it.
And where's your revenue stream coming from? So, and when we talk about, what are your business models, we've done quite a lot of work on how your business model should fit together on the business model canvas. And what you may have is lots of different models that you've looked at in theory that you've mushed together. Is this not? To create value. They should be watching this. Oh, did you see it? Okay. We're hoping this is working. We've never really run this because Google Hangouts has disappeared, and this is Outlook Live's new value proposition, which we're not very happy with, are we?
Not so far.
Okay. No answer. The other areas are the analysis of the competitors. They may actually not be in the same market as you, but offering a similar kind of service. So that's the kind of thing that you're competing against. It'll be your direct and your indirect competitors.
Do you have an example for that?
I knew you were going to say it. If you're talking about Amazon, can be an indirect competitor because they are pervasive and they sell everything and they have links to everything and they have a model that people use and like. So if you're selling a product, then Amazon would be one of your competitors because it's that kind of service that people are used to. Their returns policy, the way they have the one-click, all of that is an indirect competitor, even though they're not working in the same vertical market as you.
Yeah.
Okay. How many competitors do they need to look at?
Guys, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
The dean has kicked us out of the election.
We're live here, online.
How are you?
Okay, that's why we're here.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. Live. Okay, sorry. So how many competitors do you feel is appropriate to look at?
That's a good question. And
Do I
even,
use my office? Because we've got nowhere now.
This is a virtual lecture.
Oh, God. Is it running now?
Running now. Okay, we're having a few problems here today with space, as it says. Not seeing any video. Oh. Okay, we will try and work out why the video's not working. Okay, do you want to tell them? It's recording anyway, so please keep asking the questions. Do you want to, should we shut this down? I don't know why it's not streaming. It's streaming on mine. Here. Can you see the questions? Okay, I have people live and I have questions. I'm looking at the final section, legal, ethical. Yeah. Yes, I have your questions. Okay. So, looking at the final section, legal, ethical, security and trust. A lot of the issues do overlap, and it can all be written as one section. I've got everything now on here. Got all the questions.
Okay.
So you can write it as one section. The key thing is to create. If you put the questions up, and I'll put the screen up, the video up, and we should be moving forward. The key thing is to hit all the points. So some of their value propositions, security will be incredibly important because you'll be asking for card details, you'll be storing personal data, you'll be storing financial data. For some people, the legal ramifications of what you're doing will have big implications. Is your proposition for people under 18? Is your usefulness about global restrictions? Are you trying to show something in the Middle East that you shouldn't be doing? Are you trying to do gambling in America? There will be locational, ethical and legal issues. There will be age, legal issues. Can you think of any others?
I've only got one language centre.
You need to. We're going to look at those, okay? And the security issue is about data protection, personal details, money. You may have legal issues because of the sector in which you're working. You may have ethical issues because of the sector, and you may have specific security around the kind of working that you're doing. If you're using customers' work, if you're looking at copyrighted music, if you're looking at piracy, if any of the things that you're doing can conflict with the law of the land in which you're hosting your proposition. Okay? What are we doing? Don't answer the questions there. The whole idea is to answer them here. Okay? Yeah. We can discuss that one later. So, because we'll record it and we'll
Okay.
post it. Next question. Okay. We've done the first section, we've done legal and security. Okay, well, I can't link across. Let me link across and see what else I've got. What is the font size and line spacing shall we use? I can't, if I do that, we lose the video. So the font size, no less than 9, because I can't see any less than 9. How about you?
Me, I'd say no less than 11.
No less than 9. We can make it bigger on the screen, but definitely no less than 9. I can see, what else? What other questions have you got? I'm doing peer-to-peer model. Can you explain what do you mean by including processes and logistics? So in a peer-to-peer model, processes and logistics. What would you say?
Well, if your business is supporting or facilitating peer-to-peer, then you've got essentially two logistical problems, depending on the way your business operates. Your first logistical problem is how to get people into your system. So you've got to be able to find peers and hook them up. So you've got to make it possible for them, the kind of virtual logistics of getting people to connect to you. You've got to have the appropriate bandwidth and server capacity and all that. If you've got 5 peers, not a problem. If you've got millions like eBay has, then you need the decent technology to support that. The other element of logistics would be how you facilitate actual delivery of products. So if you are facilitating exchange of stuff between peers, then you need to have some mechanism for recording how things have been sent and tracking, which means that finding appropriate couriers that will give the necessary tracking information and billing information too.
Okay, somebody else asked how much detail about revenue should they go into. You need to go into enough detail so that we can understand where your revenue streams are coming from. We're not talking about actual amounts. What we're talking about is where you see this proposition being profitable from, or breaking even, or creating.
So, for example, if you're making money from advertising, we don't need to know what you're charging for advertising. We just need to know that the money's coming from advertising.
Or click-through, or sales, or membership, or subscription, whichever.
The only exception I would make to that would be if you are able to make a feature, if part of your USP is the price. So if you're saying that a competitor offers this for £20, we can do it for 10, then that would be something to make, to mention.
Okay, one of the other questions is, where do you hand this assignment in? There will be a link up on Moodle probably from the end of tomorrow, which you will be submitting your work in. All the work will be submitted online, and the presentations will also be submitted online, and there will be a link for that by the end of this week. Okay, any other? I'm looking. Okay, in terms of presentations, we don't mind if it's Prezi, if it's PowerPoint, if it's video. The only stipulation is that it's audio and visual.
And then it must be single click operation. So it should self-run. So you can get PowerPoint set up so that you create the slides, you put the voice over, and the viewer double clicks the icon, and it runs from the beginning through to the end without any more intervention from the user. So if you're using an alternative to that or to video, then you need to make sure that kind of click once option is available. So if Prezi doesn't do that, then I know it's got some nice features, but you need to think if it doesn't meet those criteria, then it's not going to be suitable.
You can run a Prezi with an audio over it through video. We don't have a problem with that. The idea of this is that it is self-contained and that we can just run and do, and then we will be asking questions afterwards. And one of the questions we'll be asking is who did which bit and how much people actually did, and also maybe a few questions about the content, just to check that you've actually done all the research. Anything else you want to add for that?
Yes.
What?
One of the problems that crops up regularly is that people look through a marking scheme and say, yeah, tick that, tick that, tick that, I've done all of that. So I've done everything for the assignment, so therefore it must be
A first.
First. 95% at least, yeah. So then there's the issue of quality of each of the sections. And that's part of the judgment you need to make as a near graduate. You need to be able to self-critique your work and think, could this be better?
And does what's written on the paper reflect what I think, or are there big gaps because I know the subject myself? And am I expecting the reader to make leaps
To read your mind.
That they probably can't make? Because after all, as we keep saying, telepathy, it's not our strong point.
It's not a technology that's with us yet.
So you need to make sure that the information that you want us to understand is on the paper, because that's what we will be marking. Anything else? Just going to leap over and see if there's any other questions. I don't know. Who are your customers? Should we go into detail or just list figures? When answering who are your customers, we need some evidence that you actually understand your market. So you can't just say teenagers 18 to 25. You need to have a reason why 18 to 25-year-olds would want your product, or would want your value proposition, or would be prepared to pay for what you're offering.
Yeah, what's special about that group? Why have you put those boundaries on the group? If you're dealing with pensioners, what is it that makes pensioners a special case? If it's dog owners, you can talk about the number of millions of people that own dogs, but there are different sorts of dogs. You need to think through the different aspects of your customers. So don't just say dog owners and treat them as if they're all the same. Pensioners, they're all the same. Teenagers are all the same. You've got to be able to show some understanding that you've differentiated out and identify particular aspects that are key. It's very strange watching this because sometimes there's significant lag of 10 or 15 seconds, so I'm watching myself sometimes doing stuff and gesturing as I was some seconds ago, and it's slightly weird, a bit like an echo.
I know, but we're learning new technology, new inventions, new innovation, and we'll see what you think of it. One of the other questions that somebody's asked is, can they do the video and then explain everything afterwards when they're standing there? And the answer is no, the video is supposed to be self-contained, and we will ask questions about maybe things that you didn't explain fully, or maybe things from just to understand how you've understood the topic. Yeah? But we're looking forward to them because they're always really informative.
Yes, and have fun with them.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm just having a quick look. Design process. I don't understand. I don't understand that question. Do we just have to do SWOT analysis on our justify your business proposition? And how many theories do you want? Do you just do SWOT analysis? Well, you've done quite a lot of the SWOT analysis when we were doing the business canvas and we were doing the customer canvas and the value proposition canvas. Just putting in SWOT analysis doesn't really tell us the whole story. The idea is that you need to apply what you've worked out to justify your digital proposition. So just lumping in a SWOT analysis means that we have to make all the links, and we want you to make the links for us and to join everything up and to present it to us as a summary. So the SWOT analysis would be your tool to give you the information that you would be presenting to us.
So if you've done your SWOT analysis and you've identified some weaknesses in the business, you could leave it at that. And our response will be, well, you've done the SWOT analysis, so what? The important thing then is to say, well, we've identified a weakness, this is what we're going to do about it. Either we make the absence of a particular feature from our product a feature. You know, we actually say, we haven't added this, we don't think you need it, and we're not charging you for it, so the price is lower. Alternatively, you think, okay, well, if we need that particular feature, how do we build it in? Do we find a way to either get somebody external to provide that service or product for us, or do we find a way to manufacture it ourselves? And similarly with strengths, if you've identified a strength, how are you going to capitalise on that? How are you going to really exploit that to make money for the business?
And the other thing is, if you have identified a weakness, is that going to be in your premium product? Are you going to have two tiers of revenue? Are you going to have one type of product with, you know, like everybody else, with an extra feature, you know, extra space on Dropbox, extra features that you pay for?
That the customer pays extra for,
Yeah.
yes.
So there is all that. Other questions?
And those are the sorts of things that make a difference between something being, you know, good or excellent. You know, showing that level of analysis and development.
Another question that we're asked often is, how many theories do we have to consider? You have to consider a breadth of theories that go with the proposition that you're talking about. So you need to, if you've chosen your business model and you have a particular reason why that one works with your business, you need to highlight that. So there is that. Anything else you want to say?
Just pick out stuff that's relevant. So if you've got a particular issue about competition, then, you know, a theory about competition, but don't go looking for theories and trying to force them in. Link the theory back to what you're doing rather than do something in relation to the theory.
Okay. Somebody's asked whether we're expecting Hollywood-style video. Absolutely not. As you can tell by today, we're quite happy with the rough and ready look. What we're interested in is that you've researched your topic, you've worked together, you've put together your video, and it works.
The only addition I'd add is we need to see what you need us to see, and we need to hear what you need us to hear. So if the sound then obviously it's not going to work. And if it's too dimly lit that we can't actually see the product you're showing us, then you're not showing us anything. So that's the only proviso I'd make. But absolutely, HD it doesn't need to be. If you've got that facility, fine. But don't worry about it if you're doing it on a camera.
How many references are needed? How many references are needed? Well,
Not many.
Not many. It's a report. It's not a
It's a business thing.
business thing.
You wouldn't go into a bank manager and say, here's my business case and here's a page of references. They're not going to be interested.
Okay, and one of the other questions that's been asked is, if it's an app, do I have to show what it looks like? Not in this assignment. We've not asked for that. What we're interested in this assignment is, what is it you're offering? Why are you offering it? And why will it be good? Why is it worth it? How is it going to make money?
One of the things I've said to some students is they've been talking about fairly standard business models, selling stuff online, which is,
Okay.
it's an online catalogue. There are some pictures. It's made out of polyester and it costs $5.99. Woo. Can you make it more interesting? And that might mean putting in some video. It might mean showing a bit of the country where the product comes from. It might mean if it's not that you have to do it, but if you wanted to make your digital business more interesting, then these are things that you might consider adding.
These might be
to
your
app.
USPs.
Exactly. Yeah.
If
Loads of people sell clothes online. Yours is different because it draws people in. It makes a community out of the people that wear your clothes, because users are putting up video or photographs of them wearing their stuff, doing particular activities.
Also, if you're looking at travel or you're multiplying, if you're
outside the everything we're not supposed to.
Late arrival.
I'm not even
Sorry
going.
about that.
I'm not going to even comment. Thank you for leaving me to set this up by myself. Is all I'm going to say. Okay, so
You'll follow.
non-profit. No, if you're looking at something that's not non-profit, the thing is, how will it be sustaining? So your revenue comes from charitable donations, and how you make sure that it is as lean as it can be, so that it's not a burden on the charity, and that kind of thing. So it's not that it has to, when we say revenue streams, make a profit, but hopefully it has to be self-sustaining if it's a non-profit organisation.
Quite. So if it's a non-profit, there are going to be operational costs. Are those going to be done by donation, or is a portion or all of the operating costs coming out of whatever it is you're charging? So if you're selling things,
what is the point? Why are you doing it? What is your justification? And if it's non-profit, will it be self-sustaining? I think is the thing in this assignment that we're interested in your revenue streams, because it can't just not fund itself. It has to have some form of revenue.
So if it's a charity, you can't just give stuff away, because that way you've got some business costs that are necessary to run the digital business, and if you're just giving stuff away, you've got costs going out and nothing coming in. So to make that sustainable, so that it's going to be in place year after year after year, a portion of all of those running costs have got to be supported by the digital business. So there needs to be a charge somewhere. Now, if by adding that charge you are much more expensive than your competitors, then it's probably not a sustainable business. So even if it is a charitable organisation, it's got to operate in a situation where there is competition. Maybe your USP is that it is a charity and that all the money goes to all the after costs are paid for, everything else goes to charity. That's a reasonable USP for some customers.
Also, if you are a non-profit, you need to take special care with your legal, ethical and security, because there are legal tax implications for charities and giving and refunds, and that side of it will be different for your business, because maybe your users will be gift aiding and there will be implications for that for your digital business. You just need to think about how it will be self-sustaining.
Sorry, continuing with the charities thing.
Can I?
If you want to, if you're looking for sources of information, then you need to look at the Charities Aid Foundation
And the Charities Commission.
and the Charities Commission. And the Charities Commission will be able to give information on legals, you know, the definition of a charity, things that charities can do and things that charities can't do.
Okay. What else that? Okay. Ruth? I have no idea what's going on. So, I don't seem to have any more questions. There seems to be a bit of rubbish going on in the chat. Could we try and keep it on target, please?
Focused.
Are there any other points that you want to make about the assignment? I've lost the... Where?
It's good.
Okay. Anything else that you want to say, Ernest, even though you're late?
I want to apologize for being late.
Okay.
Um,
Here we go. Is that the one you were talking about earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is it hard to get to first? No, it's not hard to get to first. The other thing you need to know is this assignment is 50%. So it is a large chunk of your final piece of work, and the second assignment will build on this assignment and the feedback that you get from this assignment. So to get to first, you have to do well on both assignments, but you do have, because there are two, you do have room to catch up with the feedback. So rather than being fixated on a first in each assignment, what you need to do is to do the assignment and answer the brief. That's the key thing, is answer what we've asked for. So there are 4 sections that we need you to hit, and you need to make sure that you've looked at the marking criteria on the right hand side, so that you're making sure that you're hitting all the elements.
Now, I'd add to that, I appreciate that people will find it ambiguous, you know, how do you separate out average, good, excellent, outstanding and all of that. The way you need to think about this really is that, in a sense, we don't care what your answer is, we're looking for the way that you process things. Are you just answering the question, which is kind of producing a minimal level of information, or are you actually
Applying it.
Are you doing what we might call some synthesis, taking your ideas and building them and realising that this has implications, rather like what I was saying about the SWOT analysis earlier on. You might have a SWOT analysis in your appendices, but if you don't then go on to say how that SWOT analysis affects the business and business decision making, then what's the point of the SWOT? You know, everything in the SWOT might be perfectly true, but if you don't actually use it, if you don't apply it, as Michelle said, it may as well not be there. So that the idea is to be thorough, and as the brief says, to be bold. So coming up with some interesting ideas is going to help. Just selling boxes online with nothing else in your website or your app is fairly flat. and there's always scope for making it better than that, which would make a better business.
Okay. Anything to add, Ernest?
I think you've said it both. The main thing is look at the marking criteria, but don't just tick the boxes in the marking criteria. Make sure you're thinking and you're applying what has been asked. That's what you've said. So
Right. There's something about give examples of businesses using this or similar examples can be in another sector. What's the best way of providing an example? What is the best way of providing an example? Well, very much like we've been doing this morning. Just tell us what the example is. You know, if you're talking about your competitors and let's say you're doing a gym personal trainer type of thing, there are lots of personal trainers out there. Tell us why you're better than your competitors. Tell us what different competitors do, whose ideas you can nick, whose thoughts you can build on. Remember, this is all about thinking. I keep saying that. But what we've done is we've given you the tools, the canvases, SWOT, competitive analysis, the tools to think. And what you have to create or innovate is why your proposition is better, why it should float to the top of all the thousands of digital propositions that come out every single month. Why should your app make it onto people's phone? Why should your service be attractive to people? Why should your membership be something people want to join? Why are they going to use a virtual gym trainer as opposed to a real life human being? What is it that you have that makes you
Special. In that particular discussion, Michelle was talking about identifying people doing maybe something similar to you. So if you're working in the gym area and health and fitness, then look for other people doing something similar and then build on that and be better than them. And now an alternate approach, if you're doing something that hasn't been done before, well, you're kind of stuck for people to compare with. So if you were bringing together artists, for example, let's say you're bringing together people who are going to work in mixed media sculptures. So you're bringing together people who can weld with people who can chisel stone. So you get these mixed media things. There's probably nothing out there that does that, I'm guessing. But there will be people who are providing a service that brings people together. And the classic example there is matchmaking. You know, would love to meet. It's a variation on that. What are they doing that you can then apply to bringing your artists together?
Yeah. And
please excuse the shaky handwriting. Michelle's got some sort of compulsion to whack the table and move things around.
And things like, somebody's asked again about the number of references. This is a business report. So if you're going to reference things, they need to be specific reference. So if you're talking about a business model theory or a competitive analysis theory, then we expect a reference. But other than that, we're not that bothered. Should you put the business canvas in the appendix? Only if it adds something. Only, you know, if you put it in the appendix and don't actually use the tool to put something into the report, it's
what's
not
the point?
Yeah. We're not that interested.
If it's in the appendices, then there should be a reference to it. So you put a table in the appendices, it will be unread if you don't, in the main body of the report, say, see table in Appendix 4.
Because,
yeah, you know...
We are not marking the appendices. We are marking the thinking of the appendices that's put in the report.
Yeah, and the appendices there are evidence that you've collected the data or that there was something issue. Yes.
Okay. Any other questions that you've had over the past couple of weeks that You might want to.
Most have also been on the references, and as has been said, the only thing is you only reference something that's not yours. So if, as Michelle is saying, you've taken a module or something somewhere, then obviously you want to reference because it's not your work. But this report is about your thinking, your work. So referencing is not a big deal. But yes, when you take something that doesn't belong to you and you use something that doesn't belong to you, of course you have to reference it to avoid plagiarism.
Okay, so somebody asked if I've created a logo, can I put it on the report? Yes, but unless it's adding value, I'm not sure. It'll be more for the next assignment.
Yeah.
Okay?
If it's in colour, it's just going to cost you more to print.
Yeah. Well, we're not, it's all online.
No, this is true.
All online.
We'll bill you anyway.
Yeah. Shall we put the business models, more comments below? My business models is very similar to Asda. Is it called Asda 2? It's called Asda 2. Is that okay?
No chance.
No, I mean, I think he's talking about the Asda model, like we talk about the Google model, and we talk about the Amazon model.
The business is not called as that.
No, I don't think there are. I think if you wanted to call your business Asda 2, you would find that you would be in major trouble for passing off copyright, all of those things. One of the things about copyright I was going to say is there's quite a lot of digital businesses that have to do with music. Please make sure that you are very, very clear about copyright, piracy, downloads, using formats, all of those things. They are a big part of your security, ethical and legal section.
There's a case going on at the moment between Iceland and Iceland. Iceland, the country, and Iceland, the food seller. And they're in dispute over the legality of using the name Iceland.
I think I'd say they've brought the name into disrepute. But
so you can see that if you get this wrong, people will
come after you.
They will chase you. Yeah.
Okay, I think we've Matalantu. No, okay. So I think we're at a stage where the questions are getting a little silly. And maybe we will leave it there. There are still a couple of tutorials this week for last minute questions about the assignment. The hand-in links will be up by the end of this week, and when I work out how to store this recording, it will be up on Moodle as well. Okay? Say goodbye.
It's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him. Okay, so